No, I'm not. I'm just thinking, Thomas Davidson would go 6:30 and 10 seconds and it's time to stop. Well, I heard there. Ring out. They're not okay. They're not
Howard will be right back.
Well, turn on the cell phone in the back there and we'll wait about 2 minutes to let it. We're waiting for the
I'm with them. Do we have any of our regular employees around? No?
Can't see the camera is on. Camera's in the office. I don't know. No, here the computer's on. Let's do that.
Oh, was that? So let me take that out.
I know nothing about this. I'm like,
It looks like it's supposed to be taken.
well,
Oh, it's focusing on them. Yeah. So maybe all they got to do is start, because this is focusing on that. It's probably on.
oh, yeah, we're on.
You're on.
We're on. Everything's good on my side. That means, what's his name?
Can you see now?
We're good to
Can you see
go.
Can you see
Well,
it?
as soon as he takes the thing off, I can see.
What thing?
Okay.
What? Elaine?
It's on. It's on.
The words are Yedid Nefesh on page 10. Please join. Yedid Nefesh Avarahman. Yedid Nefesh Avarahman.
Shabbat Shalom. Welcome everyone. As you can see, the lineup this evening is a little different. Cantor Davis is on vacation, and so our friend and former Temple President Franklin Abrams is filling in for him. And I'm Howard Herman, and I am filling in as we are between rabbis for a week. Fortunately, we have Shai on the keyboard to keep everything in order for us. This evening, I'm thinking about two of my family members, my great aunt Edith, who I shared many seders with and other family occasions, who worked with Margaret Sanger, the birth control advocate. And I'm also thinking of my cousin Helene Fishbein, who is very much still with us, who was one of the founders of the Bronx Community Abortion Center. And Helene continues to do good work to this day, and I'm grateful for them and the thousands of other people over the years who have fought for and continue to fight for women's rights to control their own bodies. This service was 40 years in the making. It was 40 years ago this summer that Barbara and I and our two young children joined Temple Beth-El. And not long after, we got a phone call from a woman we didn't know, but she was a very persuasive woman named Judy Rosenzweig. And Judy talked us into going to a couples club event, a social event at the home of a couple that, of course, we also didn't know, Leslie and Frank Abrams. And we had a great time, and we met a lot of lovely people and started some friendships that continue to this day. So be careful of who you associate with at Temple Beth-El, or else 40 years later you might end up leading a service with them. And you don't have to do the arithmetic. Frank and I are both in our 30s.
No, I think you joined from your bar mitzvah.
Right. That would do it. We begin on page 10 with Hine Matov, how good it is for brothers and sisters to dwell together.
Page 10. Hine matov umanayim, she'egachim amata. Hine matov umanayim, she'egachim amata. Hine matov, she'egachim amata. Hine matov, she'egachim amata. Hine matov umanayim, she'egachim amata. Hine matov umanayim, she'egachim amata. Hine matov, now for something also upbeat. Eile Kanda Levi, which is on page 11. Eile Kanda Levi, Usanavi Amatikalam. 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 Eile Kanda Levi, Usanavi Amatikalam.
It's my pleasure to invite up to light the Shabbat candles two friends of mine and two people who do a lot for our synagogue, Roberta Lulav and Elaine Springer. We'll turn to pages 2 and 3. And we'll hope that the wind doesn't blow.
As these Shabbat candles give light to all who behold them, so may we, by our lives, give light to all who behold us.
As their brightness reminds us of the generations of Israel who have kindled light, so may we, in our own day, be among those who kindle light. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu lahadlik ner shel Shabbat. Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu lahadlik ner shel Shabbat.
Please join me in reading together on page 8. I begin with a prayer of gratitude for all that is holy in my life. God needs no words, no English or Hebrew, no semantics and no services. but I need them. Through prayer, I can sense my inner strength, my inner purpose, my inner joy, my capacity to love. As I reach upward in prayer, I sense these qualities in my Creator. To love God is to love each other, to work to make our lives better. To love God is to love the world God created and to work to perfect it. To love God is to love dreams of peace and joy that illumine all of us and to bring that vision to life. Please turn to page 20 for Lachado D. We'll do verses 1, 2, 5, and 9. And if you wish, when we arrive at verse 9, you may rise and face the entrance to welcome the Sabbath bride.
And Howard and I will be rising and facing the entrance.
That's right.
לקראת שבת לחול ומלכה, כי מקור הברכה, מראש מקדם לשמחה. סוף מעשה במחשבה תחילה, how's that? לך אדוני, לך אדוני לקראת קלה, ולך שבת נקבלה, לך אדוני לקראת קלה, ולך שבת נקבלה. Victory, victory, viva ore, kumi uri, 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 shira beri, kevod Adonai alaikura, lecha Adoni, lecha Adoni lekrat kala, leshavat nekala, lecha Adoni lekrat kala, leshavat nekala. Shalom, Pater Tvala, Ram Simcha, Tzahora, Ochemune, Yamshima, Boi Chala, Boi Chala, Lecha Adoni, Lecha Adoni Kala, Lecha Adoni Kala,
This is the time in our service when we typically turn to welcome one another. I just thought of something I had heard during this period of COVID. There was a business conference where people were given the option of having red, yellow, or green name tags. And I think it's pretty obvious what that meant. If it was red, don't go near that person. If it was green, you were free to shake hands and hug and kiss. And if it was yellow, you kind of had to be cautious. So anyway, whatever you think is appropriate, let's greet one another, and then we'll turn to Shalom Aleichem on page 24.
Shalom Aleichem, Malachei HaShabbat, Malachei Elyon, Melech Malachei HaRam, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Ochem Shalom, Malachei HaShabbat, Malachei Elyon, Melech Malachei HaRam, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Hashem l'shalom, Malachei Hashem, Malachei
We turn to page 26 for the Chatzi Kaddish.
Yitkadal, Yitkadash, Shemei Rabbah, Yamad Yirach Yutei, Yanit Malchutei, V'chai Yechanu Yomechon, V'chayei V'chol Beit Yisrael, Bagala, U'Vitzmach Karim, V'yimru, Amen.
Shmei Rabba Mehora, Le'olam Olam Le'omaya, Yisbarach.
Yitvarach, Yishtabach, Yitvar, Yitvaman, Yitvasei, Yitadar, Yitaleh, Yitallah, Shmei Kurshav Richu, Le'lam in Kol Yichato V'Shivato, Ushvechata V'Lechem Ota, Ba'amiron Yamah, V'yimru, Amen.
Teach me, O God, a blessing, a prayer on the mystery of a withered leaf, on ripened fruit so fair, on the freedom to see, to sense, to breathe, to know, to hope, to despair. Teach my lips a blessing, a hymn of praise, as each morning and night you renew your days, lest my day be today as the one before, lest routine set my ways. Please rise for the Baruch Hu on page 28 and remain standing.
Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach, Baruch Adonai HaMevorach, Le'olam Amen.
Please join with me at the bottom of 31. This is an hour of change. Within it we stand uncertain on the border of light. Shall we draw back or cross over? Where shall our hearts turn? Shall we draw back, my brother, my sister, or cross over? This is the hour of change, and within it we stand quietly on the border of light. What lies before us? Shall we draw back, my brother, my sister, or cross over?
Baruch atah Adonai HaMa'ariv HaRavim. Ahavat Olam is on page 32. Ahavat Olam, Beit Yisrael, Ahavta, Torah u'mitzvot, u'kim mishpatim, u'tarim v'imavta. Al kein Adonai Eloheinu, shofreinu u'mekuneinu, nasiach u'kerecha, v'nizmach v'divrei Toratecha, u'mitzvotecha, Elolam v'amen. Ki hem chayenu yorech yameinu, yorech yameinu, uvahem negeh yom ha'layla, yom ha'layla. Yahavatecha al tasir imenu le'olamim. Baruch atah Adonai
Wisdom and wonder, passion and instruction, story and symbol, all these things your Torah gives to us. And the more we devote ourselves to it, the more it grows and gives. What could be a truer token of your abiding love than this holiest of your works and the living language that gives it form?
Baruch atah Adonai. Baruch atah Adonai, Ohev amo Yisrael. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Yehovah Malchuto Le'olam Va'ed.
You may be seated.
ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודך, והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבבך, ושמעת עמלך ודיברת בהם בשבתך ובביתך ובלכתך בדרך ושכבך וקומך ופשטם מאוד על ידיך והיו לכתפות בין עיניך וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי איתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם אלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם.
Adonai Elohechem Emet. Please join with me on page 39 as we prepare for Michamocha, our Song of Freedom. Standing on the parted shores of history, we still believe what we were taught before ever we stood at Sinai's foot, that wherever we go, it is eternally Egypt, that there is a better place, a promised land, that the winding way to that promise passes through the wilderness, that there is no way to get from here to there except by joining hands, marching together.
You may notice this is the old Michamocha melody, which I hope you remember. Michamocha moed Madonai, Michamocha le'adam hakodesh. No, that he don't, or say fellow, no, that he won't, or say fellow. מלכותך ועולמך בוקי הים לפני משה ומרים זרי אנו ויאנו אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד. הכיבדה אדוני את יעקב יעבור מצד מיד חזק ממנו ברוך אתה אדוני גאל ישראל.
We turn to Hashivenu, our prayer for a peaceful and safe night, on page 42.
Hashivenu Adonai Eloheinu Shalom V'hamidenu Shomreinu L'chaim Ufrosh aleinu Sukkot Shlomecha ותקננו בעצה טובה מלפניך והושיענו למען שמך. ברוך הפורץ סוכת שלום עלינו Yakolomo Yisrael, Yon Yerushalayim. Next page. V'shomru b'nei Yisrael, et HaShabbat, לעשות את השבת, וגורת וטעם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת, וגורת וטעם. בני ישראל, בני ישראל, אותי לעולם, ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת, וגורת לעולם. כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני, עשה אדוני, את השמיים ואת הארץ, ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת, וגורת לעולם. וביום השביעי שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש, ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת, וגורת
As we come to the Amidah, our standing prayer, I'm thinking about what these last 2+ years have been like, how we've learned to live apart from one another. We've learned words and phrases and actions that we never knew before. I certainly had never heard of the term social distancing until March of 2020. We learned about Zoom, what Zoom was, how to Zoom. Some of us learned when to mute and unmute, some didn't. Some learned when it might be a good time to turn off the camera, and some didn't. But we learned. We learned about masks, all different kinds of masks, which ones were good and which were not so good, and how to wear them and when to wear them. We even learned alternatives for shaking hands. So as we attempt to get back together, let's celebrate our being together as we join together and rise as one for the Amidah.
Page 46. Adonai, Shaffatai Tiftach, Ufiyadi Tehillatech. Adonai, open up my lips, that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu, Elohei Avotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol Hagibor Hanorah, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, V'komei Hakol, V'zocher Chasdei Avot V'imahot, U'mevim Lechem, L'ma'al Shmo V'yahava, Melech Ozer, Moshiach Yigeh. Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham, Ezrat Sarah. Atah gibor Adonai, Mechayeh hakol atah v'hoshia. Morid atah, Mechalkel chayim b'chesed, Mechayeh hakol v'rachamim. Zomech noflim v'rofek u'matir atzmin, V'chayem emuneto, Yishanei afar,
We continue silently, seated or standing, as is our comfort or custom. We can read the words on the page or deal with the words in our heart. And we will join together again on page 60. We turn now to page 253 for the Misha Beirach, as we think about and pray for those who we care for, who are in need of healing of body or mind or spirit. If you are thinking of someone and would like to say their name aloud, feel free to do so now. May they all heal.
Bless those in need of healing with the wash they love. To you of body, to you of spirit, and let us say,
Shabbat Shalom. This week's parsha is Shalach Lecha, which means send to you or send for yourself. It's odd phraseology, but it relates to God's direction to Moses to send 12 scouts into the promised land to assess the land and to assess the military ability of its inhabitants. We know what happened next. Only Joshua and Caleb provided optimistic reports, and of all the Hebrews, only they would live long enough to enter the land of Israel. This evening, I'm going to speak mainly about the final verses of Shalach Lecha, which contain one of God's commandments for how the Israelites were to conduct themselves once they would occupy the land. Numbers 13, verses 37 through 40, read as follows. The Eternal One said to Moses, "Speak to the Israelite people and instruct them to make for themselves fringes on the corners of their garments throughout the ages. Let them attach a cord of blue to the fringe at each corner. That shall be your fringe. Look at it and recall all the commandments of the Eternal and observe them, so that you do not follow your heart and eyes in your lustful urge. Thus shall you be reminded to observe all my commandments and to be holy to your God." Those verses contain two requirements regarding fringes, what we call tzitzit in Hebrew. One is that the fringes must be attached at the corners of the garments. The other is that a blue fringe must be included. So that's a total of 4 sets of fringes, one at each corner of the garment. For those who wear tzitzit, a blue fringe is rarely included nowadays because of an issue relating to the proper source of the blue dye. The fringe commandments not only appear in the Torah, but they also appear in traditional Jewish prayer books, right after the V'ahavta. However, many Reformed services do not include those words, perhaps because Reformed Jews don't wear tzitzit on a daily basis or attempt to follow all of the Torah's commandments literally. So what meaning can we derive from those commandments? I think they mean that we have the honor and obligation of wearing either real or metaphorical blue fringes. Blue fringes to remind us that we have been given the gift of Torah and the tools for making informed, responsible choices about God's commandments. For example, while our blue fringes don't necessarily require us to observe all Shabbat rules, they do signify that we understand the meaning and purpose of Shabbat, and that we must consider what we can do to distinguish Shabbat from the other 6 days of the week. Our being here this evening is one of the things we do. The blue fringes don't mean that we are necessarily expected to keep kosher in the traditional sense, but they do mean that we're aware of the commandments contained in Torah regarding the treatment of workers and the protection of our environment. When we and our families make choices about what we place on our dinner tables, the blue fringes will remind us to consider the means by which the food we choose was produced and transported. While the blue fringes don't direct us to study Torah day and night, they do remind us to consider what steps we will take to become more knowledgeable Jews. Will we take advantage of adult education opportunities? Will we try to attend Torah study? Will we learn Hebrew for the first time? Will we become adult b'nei mitzvah or confirmands? The Torah also directs us in our business dealings, in our attitudes toward immigrants, in our actions toward the disabled and the less fortunate, and in so many other aspects of our lives. What will we do individually and collectively to carry out those responsibilities? Beginning just a week from now, our community will be looking to our new rabbi to lead us in prayer, to guide us through life's joys and sorrows. to take us in new directions, to teach and inspire us, and in a nutshell, to make us proud to be members of Temple Beth-El. But to borrow from President John Kennedy, perhaps we should not be asking what Rabbi Stoller can do for us, but what we can do for Rabbi Stoller and for our synagogue. Rabbis need to be inspired and motivated to do all that we ask of them. They need to see that their congregants are invested in their congregation, and I don't mean just financially. So how do we provide that inspiration and motivation? We can look to a custom regarding the fringes. At morning services, immediately before the Shema, we sing certain words in Hebrew to the melody of Hatikva. These are those words in English. Gather us in peace from the four corners of the earth and lead us upright to our land. For you, O God, work wonders. You chose us. Truly you drew us near to you, to your great name, that we might acknowledge you, declaring you one in love. For those who wear tzitzit, upon reading those words, it's customary to gather the four corners and bring them together. At this time of new beginnings for Temple Beth-El, it is time for us to gather together and to do so in accordance with our synagogue's Shema statement, with purpose and with love. We'll have many opportunities to do that during the next few months, often outdoors and often with our rabbi or cantor. Of course, we should continue to take appropriate precautions. I know I will. However, when possible, we should gather together. Many aspects of Judaism are meant to be observed in community. With God's help, and with the help of scientists, doctors, and other intelligent, reasonable human beings, we can do that. Let us look to our fringes to recall what we need to do, both in word and deed, to make ourselves all that we can be, and to make our Kehila Kedosha, our sacred community, all that it can be. Ken Yehi Ratzon. May it be so. We turn to the top of page 283 for Aleinu.
And 287 after that. Aleinu l'shabeach l'akol, l'adei k'dula l'yotzer b'reishit, שהוא שם חלקנו ויחד את שמו, וגאול עלינו להמליך מלכותו. ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא.
You may be seated. We turn our thoughts now to those who have died recently or at this season in years past. If you hear the name of a loved one that you are here for, feel free to rise as I say their name. This week, Arlene Schneider. Observing the period of Shloshim, in the past 30 days, Florence Epstein, Sonia Greenbaum, Elaine Harris, Stephen Howard, Isidore Sonny Landsberg, Marcia Rosen. Yahrzeits: Dorothy Green, Gerald Gross, Lynn Johnson, Benjamin Lipschitz, Angela Schwimmer, Deborah Halpern Silverman, Eve Smith, Paul Bennett Smith, Felix Smolowitz, Jacob Starman, Hank Stevens, Gertrude Wiesel, A. David Yadlovka. We turn to the Mourner's Cottage on page 294. Yikadal v'yikadash Shemei Rabbah, v'alma divrach rutei v'amlich malchutei. V'chayechon v'yomechon v'chayei l'chol beit Yisrael v'agala v'zman kari v'imru amen. Yehi shmei rabba mevarach le'olam olamei omaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yiromam v'yitnaseh. V'yithadar v'yithalev v'yithalal shmei kudusha b'richu. La'ela min kol birchata v'shirata. Tushbachata v'nechemata. Tamiran v'alma v'yimru amen. Yehi shlama rabba min shemayu. V'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'yimru amen. Oseh shalom b'mrumav. Hu ya'aseh shalom. Aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'yimru amen. May the one who creates harmony on high bring peace to us and to all Israel, to which we say, Amen. You may be seated. So we have a surprisingly large number of announcements for late June, and I thought I had a long list, and then Joy Pilevsky provided me with even more. So I'm going to pick and choose. Tomorrow, 9 a.m. Torah study, and this might be a first with Rabbi Tara and Rabbi Meir together in person to talk about the meaning of Torah study itself. That'll be online and in person. Schmoozing starts at 9 a.m. And then we'll get underway in earnest at 9:15. 10:30, a lay-led Shabbat service with at least one of the Feldmans in person as well. Sunday morning at 9:30 a.m. is a Brotherhood meeting, preceded by a bagel breakfast at 9 a.m. It's open to all Brotherhood members and prospective Brotherhood members, and Rabbis Meir and Tara will be there as well, and the men of Brotherhood will have a chance to wish them well. Next Thursday at 6:30 p.m., Thursday, June 30th, is a Sisterhood dinner and planning meeting right here in the Ruden Garden. By the way, the Brotherhood meeting is going to be in the Ruden Garden as well, weather permitting. The dinner is free for Sisterhood members and prospective members, but please RSVP. Now, there you go. Even I said please RSVP. And I have told, every time I proofread a temple document and it says please RSVP, I say, you don't have to put please before RSVP because the SVP means please. And now I did it myself. RSVP to sisterhoodtbegn@gmail.com. Next Friday, at this time, God willing, Rabbi Stoller will be your rabbi. 6:30, same time, same station. And then on the following Shabbat morning, as well as the Shabbat morning after that, July 2nd and July 9, Torah study will be preceded by a light bagel breakfast here in the Ruden Garden at 8:30 prior to the start of Torah study at 9:15. And I understand that there will be some kind of a tribute band rock concert, one or more, the week of July 11th, right here. So watch your emails for that. Shai, thank you so much for keeping us on track and keeping us honest. Frank, I couldn't have done it without you. You probably could have done it without me, but I couldn't have done it without you.
Oseh shalom.
Yep.
He wanted, what is it? Shalom. No, what is it that you wanted? Simon Tov.
Okay.
You want to celebrate you.
Okay. David Tootin, do we have you to blame for that or to thank for that? Or, okay. Thank you, but where's the candy that's supposed to get thrown at Okay. Phil, I think you are our greeter this evening, is that right? Thank you. And everyone, please remember to return prayer books to as close as you can get them to that shelf when we leave. The Oneg Bakers tonight, now that Joy did give me that, and I'm not going to overlook that. Roberta Lulab, Cheryl Silverstein, Linda Diamond, and Debbie Sutton. Thank you to the Oneg Bakers. Thank you as well to our onboarding committee. I bet you never heard of an onboarding committee before, but that is the committee that's charged with making sure that we all have a chance to meet our new rabbi at some point in the coming weeks. So that committee, led by Leslie Abrams and Sheila Aronson, has planned and is planning a lot of events. You should have already received an email message this afternoon with a listing of some opportunities to meet Rabbi Stoller, and there will be others throughout the summer. We turn now to Kiddush on page 5 and Motzi, and I again invite Roberta and Elaine to the bima.
She likes that side better.
In honor of our 20 years ago, this Shabbat, this Torah portion, we were adult b'nei mitzvah. So.
Yep. And I'm going to attend tomorrow morning to try to do my portion, but probably read it instead of chanting it.
There were 12 of us. There were 12 of us in the class. 11 women and 1 man who kept us. Eric Gottesman kept us straight. So.
We kept Jerry Davidson company. All right.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushenu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu v'shabbat kodesho v'yahavanu v'ratzon v'yitinu zikaron v'matzeh v'reishit ki hu yom tefila v'miklai kodesh v'eter tziyat mitzrayim ki anu v'chata yochanu kidoshta mikol ha'amim v'shabbat kodeshecha v'ahava u'ratzon v'yimchaltanu Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh ha-Shabbat.
Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Amen.
Amen. Frank, we're closing with Oseh Shalom.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Okay.
Oseh Shalom Divroma, Uyaseh Shalom Aleinu, V'yakol Yisrael, V'yamru, Laseh Shalom, Yaseh Shalom, Shalom Aleinu, V'yakol Yisrael, Yaseh Shalom, Yaseh Shalom, Shalom Aleinu, V'yakol Yaseh Shalom, Yaseh Shalom, Shalom יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו, יעקב ישראל, יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו, יעקב ישראל. שבת טוב. On the dot.
Oh, nice, Roberta.
Yes. Listen. Thank you, Walter. Got it?
Yep.
Thank you very much.
Right
There.
over there.
Oh, there's the wall. Whoops. Now I gotta find.
Who bought the food? Sorry. Wait. Who bought the fruit?
That's a lot of nice.
All I have to say, whoever brought the fruit, I thank you.
And I second the motion.
Yes.
Dress the food.
I left around.
All right.
I went to my main name was Plant. Then I married I always wanted to be it's tricky. Poet or something, you know? Going up is great,
Sure. That first one was
Are you online?
Take your place.
No, it's fine.
That was
Brownie.
That's chocolate. Big Tell Susie I said hello. Whoops, well, that girl. I didn't realize it was the girls from that's why it doesn't go. It's that far. No, I know how long. I know. Got chocolate. Yeah. Blueberry. That's blueberry. Is it blueberry? Ah, this is blueberry. Looks like chocolate, but it doesn't say chocolate chip. Oh, this is blueberry. That's blueberry. This is chocolate. This is. Yeah. We had music in the street last night. Oh yeah? Yeah, it was very nice. So Elaine and Ina, and then Fred and Lauren and I all went to bring a diner. And they brought out a basket of bread and had yeah? Or like to make French toast.
No, they actually come in person. Yep. So if you want to see them, they're going to be here tomorrow morning. If you want to come to Giraffe Study.
Who's going to be here?
Mayor and Tower.
I think that coffee's always
It's just in, you know what? It's just in there.
it's supposed to be. One is
Automatic. Every should drink coffee.
I got to put out in the extra room. It's quite interesting. They're here officially the last day of the June 30th. Oh, that's when the contract starts. Oh, really? Yeah.
The new rabbi starts July 1st.
Contract. So the new rabbi. Contract.
oh, contract.
Contract. Ending with them and beginning with our new rabbi. So, be nice.
Yeah.
Good. You can make the cake.
We sit back.
It's delicious.
I met him when he came as a road. And I sort of first with him on Facebook. And I know very outside of here and there.
This is all
see him in person and I'd sit down and have a conversation. One day at a time. That's all we can do. Shabbat shalom.
No, they have 3 years. They have 6 years.
6 years to prepare to be rabbi. 6 years to be rabbi. I don't know either. Sorry, I missed it. I got a bunch of phone calls.
Graduate school first.
Became a rabbi. My cousin, not that he ever intended to be a rabbi. He just did it to get out of the and now he's a
Orthodox and converted. I had kids in high school.
Very fine job.
I wonder if there's a story to be told. He never was. He studied, he got certifications.
I think something nice. I have to show you something.
But he is
It's been a long time for that.
I don't know. The rabbi, my son.
Maybe the new rabbi.
Some from trees, some were bushes.
So I said to him, from now on, and so anyway, I should show you some more.
You did a fabulous job.
Thank you.
You know why?
Because you knew that, the tunes. Yeah.
Oh, good.
It should be turned off now, though. No, the Zoom.
Oh,
Nice. I just thought it was so good.
Your left. Yes, and we actually do lots of different things. Is this Zoom still running? Hi.
That's like one of the questions, have you ever done this in your life? Yeah,
Frank has pitched in periodically over the years. Did a fabulous job. Sorry?
Whoever did, I think.
Yeah, there's a lot of good stuff in there. Okay, it's not over the top.
Tell you about my grandson.
I found some mangoes.
He's in the Harvard Jazz Band. And they just went to the Dominican
We're going for
Republic
that
to
kiwi.
play jazz. I don't know.